Okay, thank you everybody. We have a lot of visitors here tonight. We're happy to see you, but please, the acoustics in this room are that they reflect back to the front of the room and make it extremely distracting and loud up here for everyone. We want all the residents to hear what our special guest speaker and what the board has to say tonight. This presentation is out of the norm because planning projects don't typically come in front of the town board, but this is reactionary to the great concerns of the Round Lake community. So again, we just want to make sure that all the agenda items are hit tonight and that all resident concerns are addressed. Could people in the back just gesture for those coming in through the wrong door that they should come around? Thank you. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to open the town board meeting of August 10th, 2026 at 7:06 p.m.
Monroe will second.
Call the question.
Aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
We have just a few announcements before we get to the meat of the meeting. We are having our mobile DMV come once again from the county to Town Hall on August 27th, 2026. So County Clerk Kelly Eskew invites you to the Orange County DMV unit. Transactions offered are all registration transactions, licensing, including real and enhanced enforcement, and it will not include permitting tests, so our young new drivers still have to go to the regular location down in Goshen. So again, that's Thursday, August 27th, 2026, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., closed for lunch for 1 hour, and reopening at 1 to 3:30 p.m. Again, that's Monroe Town Hall, 1465 Orange Turnpike, and please visit the dmv.ny.gov for all necessary original documents before your visit. And we have the St. Paul Lutheran Church Blood Drive. So you can donate on Saturday, August 15th, and receive a $20 Amazon gift card from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at St. Paul Lutheran Church on 21 Still Road in Monroe, New York. And you can scan the QR code on the flyer to register or walk in. And redcrossblood.org, you can enter the sponsor code St. Paul Lutheran in all capital letters. And you can find this information further on our website. And before we start the meeting, I just wanted to say that it's been an extremely tough week for the town of Monroe staff. We had a couple very serious medical incidents, and we are happy to report that our employees are doing much better. In fact, we were seeing some smiling faces from those employees who had incidences on or around campus this week. So we just want to wish those employees the best and just appreciate the fact that we have such hardworking staff who are even, in a hospital trying to work and send documents to us from on location. So we are just missing them, wishing them well, and asking that they adhere to doctor's orders and take the necessary rest. And thanks, everybody. All right, so let's move on to the acceptance of the July 13th, 2026 minutes. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe makes a motion to accept the minutes of July 13th, 2026.
Monroe will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Abstain.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Great. Now we have the audit of claims. Be resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe requests approval of abstract 26-13 general fund.
Can I interrupt a second? There's
Yeah.
the July 23rd minutes.
Oh, there's an additional? I don't have papers on my,
Just approving the July 23rd minutes. We had 2 meetings.
make a motion additionally accepting the July 23rd meeting minutes.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
So Val, the audit of claims that we have in front of us is an addition to the one that's on the agenda, or?
So the cash transfer is what's on the agenda. What I printed out this morning and gave you, that is the audit of claims, and then the
Additional.
cash transfer is
So
the
all
separate.
need to be done. Thank you so much. So be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe requests approval for the abstract number 26-13 for the general fund containing check run number 384080.
No.
No? Am I in the wrong? How is this displaying on my, so we supplanted it? So this instead
Go,
of...
go off of that. Go off of the paper that Cheryl gave us this morning.
Okay, so, we're not doing what's on the actual agenda for 5.1. Do I have a different screen than you?
I don't know. I don't have that on my screen.
Okay,
This one, the abstract is 26-13, general fund.
yeah.
And the one she's
That's
saying
from a prior
5.1
meeting.
is
Why, oh, so it got
26-15.
transferred in the spot? How am I looking at it
I
for this
don't
meeting?
know.
Okay.
It's just
Off the
different.
paper.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm in the correct, that my agenda is displaying correctly. Hold on, let me,
This was the additional confusion.
I know, this was an issue all day, but I'm trying to make sure I'm in the correct civics.
The cash transfer is just for New York class.
Yes.
Yes.
Audit of claims. I think I was genuinely in the wrong Civics Plus category. So we have 3 for 5.1. We're not doing what's on there.
Go off the paper.
Yep. Okay. So we have a cash transfer to and from investment funds for the date of audit is August 10th, 2026. Abstract cash number 2026-03. So totaling in,
I have to interrupt. I don't know what number you're looking at.
asked me to read the NICLAS. This is NICLAS. You want me to read the audit of claims first? Okay. We're getting confused. Thank you, Mary. That's the NICLAS. We'll save that for next. We'll do the audit of claims now. All right, so Town of Monroe, date of audit, August 10th, 2026. The abstract number 26-15 for consolidated total claims, $596,859.08. And this is, where are the check numbers on this? So it's for PO 26-01193.
There are no, I questioned her on this morning. She said with the new resolution that you guys did, there are no check numbers. Once you approve the abstract, she will cut the checks.
Right, so I'm going to do the POs instead, through 26-01454. Okay, I'm going to make a motion to accept that.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Okay, now audit of claims 5.2. Date of audit, August 10th, 2026. Abstract number 26-10 for the escrow. Total claims, $25,970.60. PO number 26-01149 through 26-01328. Again, totaling $25,970.60. Motion to accept that.
Rivera will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Date of audit for audit of claims, Smith Clove Park. We're separating this out now because it's a different fund, so we are doing, a different commission. It is 5.3, August 10th, 2026, abstract number 26, and we're just calling it 01 because this is the first time we've ever done Smith Clove Park claims separately. And the total claims for the park are $15,277.01. PO number 26-01037 through 26-01403, and again, totaling $15,277.01. Any disputes? Motion to accept that.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Excuse me, Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Now we're at 5.4, or we did 6.1, perfect. All right, now we're at the NICLAS, as we mentioned previously. So be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Monroe makes a motion to approve the abstract number 2026-03 in the amount of $1.95 million for cash transfers to and from investment funds. Darius, do I need to read all of the funds, or can we, because we, as a board, have this in front of us, just motion to accept?
It's available, too.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to accept the cash abstract. Cash
Rivera will second.
abstract. Thank you. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Hingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Okay, now we are into the Q&A with Joel Mann regarding Round Lake. And as I stated earlier, we're going to have a presentation by the guest speaker, Joel Mann, who's representing the property. He's owned the property for 10 years. This is in response to residents' concerns. This is not a typical meeting that we would hold in the town board. We don't oversee these kinds of projects. If and when there's a development proposed, it will go directly to the planning board. So we just wanted to address the amount of outcry on social media, misinformation, and give the property owner a chance to dispel rumors and provide aerial footage and other historical information on the property and historical aerials from the 50s. So Joel, you want to make your way up to the front?
I will just announce that the mic is turned on when I do call speakers up. Please leave the mic in the stand by the podium. Nope, you're going to be here, Joel. And just speak clearly into the mic. Your mic should be on.
Yeah.
Just speak into it.
Good evening, Joel Mann. Personally, I live in the village of Kirjol. Okay. Okay. Now you can hear me? Okay. So my name is Joel Mann. My firm is Braham and Associates. I'm a local planner working on multiple projects. I will go directly to the what there is a property 70.70. This is good. 70. Is that better? No. Okay, that's better.
Don't blow on the mic.
Okay.
Makes George mad.
Sorry.
Let's switch this one.
Okay. Okay. So now that we finished with the mic, I can start to address. To be honest with you, I didn't expect such a big crowd there, and I hope I will be able to address everyone's, or mostly everyone's concerns, and make sure that whatever the rumors are, what the truth is. I'm the owner of that property for about 8 years. It's close to 10 years. We didn't do anything in the property, as you can see. The only action that you have seen happening in the property is very clear. We'll be very open with you. We had a neighbor that had encroached in that property, and at the end of the day, he moved away. He sold the property to another owner. We had a violation. They had a shed on our property with other recreation areas. We gave them the chance, the offer to buy and purchase a portion of our property in order to mitigate that violation. So once they own the property, they can have the shed there, they can have that recreation. We have dealt back and forth. So about 18 months ago, we finished the deal. We came to the planning board. We made a lot line change. We got some money on it, and it was always something that we would like to do on this property, sitting in the middle of an area that it's fully open to secure the property. So we used that money to fence the property around, clean it up, and plan to use it, just me and the partners, for some recreation. Again, that does mean that I don't plan to develop that property at all, but I can tell you for sure there is no development plans as we speak. The same it was 8 years ago, that's the same what happened now. We fenced the property, we cleaned it up. There was no tree cuttings happening there, and I can prove that. We have multiple agencies walked through the property, including the DEC, about 3 times. We added, and I know some questions about adding electricity. So yes, we applied to get a meter on so we can connect cameras to be able to keep the property secured. If there's going to be any developments, there's a procedure that you need to go through in town. You need to make a plan. You need to put an application to the planning board. The planning board will do a public hearing. Everyone will have the chance to see the plans and talk about it. There's no behind the scenes or hidden things here. Everything's fully open and disclosed, and I'm happy to answer any question or concern from any neighbors, and I will tell even more. My understanding is that there are some crowds with some spokesmen that trying to make some rumors that there is issues. I'm happy to take, if the crowd will choose 1 or 2 people to represent them. We'll walk through with them the property, show them whatever I said is right, and hopefully with that, everyone will be happy. And if there's anything more, I'm here to address that. Just to add a little bit, I know my name is a little bit more popular. It's basically, besides owning this property, I'm not in fully real estate, but I'm a planner working on a lot of projects, not my projects, representing other people. Always, you can see my record, my history, it's all public, multiple towns and villages, not only in town of Monroe, not trying to fight with the boards, not trying to do anything, just to work and coordinate and cooperate with the law and with the zoning. And that's how I'm here, and that's why I'm here, and the same will be with this property in the future.
Hi, could you please address a couple questions from the online forum for us while we have you? And then we're gonna let the public question you for a little bit, and then you can answer. Does that sound fine?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I will not.
This is from 1952.
I will not put on the recording from Dr. Fauci that will have my attorney. So
You're sure you want to waive your rights before we question you?
I will waive it if it comes to a point that I don't want to answer.
So I wanted to also, just before we get into the questions, this is a website that our planning chairwoman, Bonnie Franson, provided to me.
Yep.
This is actually from 1952. This is from like 2000. Hold on.
Not every year you can see. So
Oh, hold on. It's mad that I have ad blocker. Let's fix that and then refresh. Okay. So basically what I wanted to show before I'm getting spammed by ads over here was that in 1952, it was a farm. So under the ownership, your ownership, under others' ownership before you, was actually allowed to grow into a forest because it did not, it was a farm that was kept completely bare, as you can see. So there was pathways, there were agricultural uses on this land. You can see that even the island is like relatively sparse. It's very interesting. You can go to historical aerials and check out your own property or properties around town, and then you can start to see it fill in. Like that's 1975, and it was left, and look how forested it's become. And then obviously that's what it looks like today. This was just taken July 31st by a drone footage. So that's what we have. That there were some people questioning, and this answers that. You could see, again, this is how empty. There were no trees there at all because it was farmland. You know, that it was untouched, pristine, old forest, and it's really not. Not that it is not a beautiful forested area now.
I forgot to add one more thing. So on that property, there is a main interceptor from a county main sewer line that runs there probably from the 1970s or 80s. I didn't check that history on that, the line had some hydraulic capacity issues, and the county for a couple of years ago added some raised manholes to be able to accommodate for peak flow capacity, that basically the flow is rising up in the manholes. They did at that point a lot of disturbance there. They worked while it was probably about 6-7 years ago, right after I bought it. It was at that point, and there is a pathway from one edge of the property to the other edge that the county uses for a road to get access there, and that's existing. Yeah, you can see it on all probably. This is from 1984, so you can see it here. Yep.
It looks like they trimmed back from 75 to 84. It looks
Yeah.
pretty sparse, and then
Yeah, but a couple of years ago they changed the manholes and raised the manholes, and
okay, so could you clarify again, how long have you owned the property, and
About
what
eight-
was the process? It was part of another development neighboring the property, wasn't it? It was part
No.
of a large single parcel, and it was subdivided off from that development?
I don't know. I bought that 8 years ago, just without any history.
Okay. So since no formal application or site plan has been submitted, what's the exact nature and timeline of your current exploratory phase?
I don't have one. It's the zoning. It's an R1 district. In order to see what you can put on the lot, you have to do a slope analysis. There's a whole setup in the zoning code to see how much lots you can put up. I didn't even start that process or looked at it, and so I don't have any timeline.
Are you presenting on behalf of a specific developer, property owner, or as a preliminary conceptual inquiry?
I am the owner of that LLC.
Do you own it with other parties, and are they
Yes.
keeping it residential, or do they intend?
There's no plans.
No plans. So another one was, when do you anticipate submitting a formal plan or application to the planning board?
Not yet.
What specific zoning designation does the 70-acre parcel currently hold, and do you intend to seek a rezoning or variance in the future?
It's in the R1 district, and was nothing in my mind that when I will do an analysis, I will see if I want to do something. But since I don't have any plans, I don't see what I can ask even for.
Your experience as a planner, could you explain what an R1 district is for the public who's here?
It's the minimum of 1 acre lot area, so you have to deduct for steep slopes, you have to make your roads, any easements that you need to deduct. After that, every lot needs to comply with a minimum lot area of 1 acre so minus the steep slopes that based on the code, I don't remember, it's 20% to 30%. Then you have to make sure that you have sewer, you have water for this development. Otherwise, you can't get approvals on it.
What is Monroe's, in your, again, you've presented a lot of projects always in front of the planning board. What are Monroe's most restrictive zoning areas?
Please explain more the question.
Like, in your experience, is RR1 one of the most
Basically,
restrictive?
yeah,
And is
because
there
you have-
any other
You
more
have
restrictive?
SR10, you have SR15, SR20, and this is R1, so it's basically more the restrictive side.
And I think Monroe only has RR3 as the more restrictive zoning. I don't
Maybe,
think we have any
possibly.
more restrictive zoning than that.
Correct.
There's someone, are there initial conservation constraints? You've mentioned steep slopes, but are there others? Protected wetlands that will automatically limit where a buildable footprint could go?
So there is some wetlands close to the shore between the county's road and the lake. There is protected wetlands. The DC was there and checked for that.
Do you know how many acres the wetlands are?
No.
It's limited to that one spot?
What?
Is it limited to that one spot, the current protected
So
wetlands?
it's basically need to be deducted, and you can't use it as lot area, so that means that you, whatever it is, you can't build so much.
Is the intent to keep the property as a single subdivision, multifamily development, or commercial or mixed-use concept?
No plans yet.
But we discussed that the limitation for RR1.
Again, I want to clarify. Since there was so much heat and attention to it, maybe I will look into it and see what I can develop it. But to be honest with you,
Don't give him any ideas.
so
Someone said, who are you? What's your role with representing projects? We covered that. What specific activities have been conducted on the property to date? So we've had a lot of people saying that they see tree cutting, that they see machinery in and out. What is it that's going on that people are thinking is tree cutting?
So we didn't cut any trees, maybe one tree, maybe. And
Excuse me.
the people are, the crowd, I think it's like seeing is believing, like I said, and I'm ready to prove that. When the county did so as I said, with getting the property protected, and I want to have it usable for recreation, like for my personal use, we have discovered when the county worked around with the road, they have put in some culverts crossing their road that was during while the county didn't maintain that was clogged, and we just came in and replaced that culverts, and the DFC have seen that, and like we said, there's no issues with that. It's just regular property maintenance. It's like a small 20-foot pipe.
So you had
And
the
we
chain
clean-
link fence, which is completely, anyone can put a chain link fence.
Correct.
You have did you pave the driveway or it's still
So
gravel?
I
You went through Bill Brown.
So I applied for a driveway opening to have regular access to the property. We did it where there was already a culvert crossing by the entrance, and as per the request from the DPW, we paved the first, 50 feet, I don't remember exactly, just to make sure that we keep the road clean.
So you've also had some land clearing, as in not clearing of trees,
No,
but clearing of brush, landscaping.
Basically, there's a lot of fallen trees. You can come in, you can see still a lot of naturally fallen trees. It can be proved, you can see it. And if anyone of the crowd there walked in any forest, they will see fallen trees everywhere. And so we cleaned it up. The areas just front, you can see there's still fallen trees, but we tried some areas that I want to enjoy and use. We put it together, and we'll take it away.
I do want to add the note from our building inspector, who couldn't be here tonight, that he and his entire department at this point have walked it, as well as our Conservation Commission. And they attributed the dead, dying trees that we saw on Near Map when we previously did this. For those of you who hadn't seen previous meetings, there's satellite aerial footage. Unfortunately, ash trees in this region were eaten by the emerald ash borer and did fall down, and that seems to be the bulk of any sort of trees that have been cut. The building inspector verified that there was no living trees cut, and the confusion seems to be that the ash trees that have fallen down that are dead
And again, just
is
to
being
clarify,
maintained.
if the DC we had last week, they called me a day before, they want to be tomato on the site. They were there tomato. So it's like, if I have something to hide, I didn't even have a chance to hide it. They were there, they've seen everything, and
So what specific types of site work can a property owner lawfully perform without a formal site plan approval, such as surveying, percolation testing, removing dead or dangerous trees? What threshold does tree removal or site disturbance require a formal tree permit? Will you be seeking formal tree permits or any stormwater pollution prevention plan from the municipality or DEC?
no, since I'm not removing any trees, just taking away with fallen trees, I don't need to apply for any tree clearing permit. And again, like I said, the building inspector can anytime come in and take a look.
And someone did ask, had the building inspector visited, and we confirmed that they have multiple times, as well as the Conservation Commission. Who else has visited? The DEC. I have visited, Bill Brown has visited, our planning board chairwoman has also visited, Bonnie Franson. Are there any areas currently being maintained or cleared within protected wetland buffers, steep slopes, or floodplains where work is strictly restricted?
What is the question?
Is there any work being performed in wetlands, steep slopes, or any restricted areas within the town of Monroe
No.
Code? So will any future land use on this parcel remain fully subject to standard local property taxes and municipal tax rolls?
Why not? What is-
They're concerned that the use would become converted into some kind of municipal or religious use, and it would be taken off the tax rolls, from what I can see.
I don't know, I can't commit on that, maybe.
So, for residents concerned about environmental protection around Round Lake, can you confirm that current activity is limited to preliminary surveying, testing, and standard hazard mitigation under the oversight of local code enforcement?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I have on my end. Does the board have any additional questions before we open it to one question per audience member who has waited?
Can we put that mic back on the podium?
Yes, we will. Thank you, George.
Not that mic.
Oh,
Yeah, I will.
It's a whole story about a mic. Okay.
I have a comment.
Okay.
You said that the manholes were raised. I do have a a memory or a remembrance of that manhole being raised because the amount of sewage that was coming through there was blowing through the existing manhole.
Correct, that's hydraulic capacity, that's the
Right.
county calls that, yeah.
Are
Okay.
you part of Orange County Sewer District 1, or are you part of Moodna? Do you know that yet?
This is in the district.
Orange
this
County
property is
Sewer,
Orange
Orange County Sewer
Yes, that
District
property is
1.
Orange County Sewer District 1, yes.
Sewer District 1, thank you.
Can you, I've seen the photos of the trenching and the large pipes. Can you explain to everybody why that was done and what it was for?
Like I said, I can walk you on the property. We changed it was the areas where the county had raised the manholes and filled around it, and they blocked the natural flow of the water. And I've showed that to the DC and to everyone. It's that where we cleaned up and we replaced the pipe that crossed the county's road on the sewer main.
Oh, you're saying it was just one pipe?
There's 5 pipes. We did 2.
And who did the other 3?
Will be done.
Okay.
I actually just have one more question if you're done. You finished? There have been rumors online, which are interesting to me because my entire platform as Preserve Monroe is to get rid of a particular zoning called CCR. Were you aware of this zoning?
I heard about it when this was, I think, was part of Shea Meadows that time, but I'm not sure if this. I think it's a specific area. I'm not sure if this area has
It
the
is.
CCR.
I just wanted to take this final moment to clarify that once and for all, that CCR is not eligible on this property.
It's
It
not
is
on this
not eligible at this property. It is specifically exempt from this property, and that the online rumors that you're somehow
never-
combining acreage, it would not matter. It would
My
never be
understanding
eligible.
was the same, that this is not on the CCR. I
Yep.
never had anticipated.
It's
Because I
not.
know the CCR was an overlay zoning.
Yes,
So,
but it was particularly designated as pre-approved sites, so you can only land the overlay in pre-approved studied sites, and that zoning map is listed online. So this is not eligible for that. Okay, can we call the speakers from the public
Just
now?
want to say I don't have any questions because you don't have anything to present to us. You don't have
Just one.
right?
right.
And if everyone can just limit yourself to 1 or 2 quick questions and try not to repeat the questions. And if you guys have any additional questions, you can coordinate with us, and Joel will be happy to connect with us from now. So if we're going to call your name, just quick 30 seconds, if you wouldn't mind, one or two top questions.
So,
Want to do a quick one, too?
Good evening, good evening. Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
If it's off or just
It's
out
just
of
very low.
battery.
Maybe the batteries are
Okay.
dying.
Okay, it's good.
so the first speaker is Mark Lundy, followed by Susan Pendergrast.
I guess my first question would be, did you call 811 or notify the Orange County Sewer District because you were trenching over their sewer line?
I spoke to the county about it,
You did.
yes.
They have no knowledge of it. Are you aware that if you did rupture that pipe, that that lake would have been uninhabitable for over a year?
Please speak into the mic.
I know exactly where the pipe runs.
How deep would you say it is where you trenched?
I didn't trench close to the pipe.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Would you say it was?
What, the pipe, or? I didn't check it exactly.
Okay, that's good.
I don't have the numbers in
Are
front of
you
me.
aware that you are in violation with the DEC currently, which I found out today after their investigation, for redirecting groundwater into the wetlands? And
No.
they will be issuing you a restorative order to put everything back the way it was? Have you received that confirmation from them?
No,
Well, you probably will, because they made that determination today.
as per my knowledge, they didn't when they were on the
No,
site.
I'm just letting you know.
So-
That's my two questions.
Thanks, Mark.
Susan Pendergrast, followed by Mike Andrizzi.
I'm going to just give a 30-second timer, if that's fine for everybody. You can go ahead. I mean, we just want to give it one or two questions top. Go ahead.
I didn't realize that I had to ask a question.
Okay.
My name is Susan Pendergast. I live at 28 Tufanic Road. I've lived there for 66 years. I grew up there. I learned how to swim in Round Lake. I learned how to boat in Round Lake. I swam to the island. I slept on the island. Not anymore. But I played. I played in the water all the time. When I had children, my children learned how to swim. Even before that, when I was a teenager, I was a lifeguard at Round Lake for many, many years. My children learned how to swim there. They learned how to boat there. We love the lake. It's been clean. It's pristine. We used to also walk the right-of-way and cut through the woods and find places to fish, and just really have enjoyed the lake. And as an adult, I have wanted to give back. I've become part of the board. I've been secretary, co-president. I'm on an events committee. For the lake, we love it there. We love the green, the privacy. Also, what my question is, like, I saw those pictures as well. I want to know, was there a permit prior to any of that? And if so, was there a permit after that to do any of the digging that I saw pictures of as well? I also, being that there are no plans right now and you're talking that you don't know what you're going to do, I would like to request that when you do know what you want to do, and with good timing ahead of time, I would like another meeting just like this to be able to go over everything. We don't want to have people all of a sudden blindsided and said, oh, guess what? We're clear cutting the woods. we're doing this, we're doing that. We want to know. If you have a plan, then we have to know ahead of time with good intention.
I want to reassure everybody that the town's role and what we have on the books right now is very protective. We went out of the way to have a new tree law. We have great people like Bonnie Franson, too, who's on the planning board, and a great planning board assisting her. Even if it does go through the normal channels, and for some reason you didn't hear from me online or at another one of these sessions, the normal way that it is set up is that it would be announced at a public planning board meeting, or any tree clearing would have to be approved up to, I believe, 10 trees by a building permit. So there might be some living trees that by building permit can be taken down per the new code. But then above that number, it does go to a planning board meeting, which is exactly the same as this. It's an open forum, which also can provide for public comment. So we will take those suggestions, and obviously we've went out of our way to hold this forum tonight, and thank you so much for your comments, because it's exactly why we're all in Monroe. But I just wanted to reassure you that the way the system is set up right now, even if we did nothing additional, we're in good shape.
And just so that you know, too, there is an eagle's nest on that property. And there are cormorants, heron, bear, rattlesnakes, all sorts of animals, but there is an eagle's nest on that property. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mike Andrizzi, followed by Iris Conk.
So my first question is actually for the board, and my wife did want to speak, so if you could give a little latitude as well instead of her coming up. My one question really is why now? What's the sudden urgency? I know you answered, but just bear with the concept. There's a lot of people here. So you're trying to limit it, which I get, but the theme of it is why now? Why for him? He doesn't, he said he's not Fauci, but he didn't commit to anything. So what are we really even discussing? To have the questions in advance, you pick and choose which questions. It's almost like the media today. We'll give him some of the questions.
Aren't you standing here now asking questions?
No, I'm asking you just in general. It's, something this important and this many people, there's not even enough chairs. You normally should do it like in September. If it was a dire emergency, it's the height of vacation. It's just before people go back to school. And look how many people showed up. Can you imagine if it was September, how many people would show up? I just feel it's that important, and it was put together maybe on a, you tried to do the right thing, and I respect that, but I just feel that something this important should be done more in September, more, not just on Facebook, but more knowledgeable, and give people a chance to get their thoughts together, or maybe get a couple of spokespeople to speak, so that it could be more organized. Even to have it, and again, I'm not here to complain, but like if he did have anything, you could have one TV on that side so people could see it.
We don't have any more chairs, and we don't have any more TVs. This is what the town has.
I've had meetings where there were so many people that had to shut the meeting down. So if you know it's that big, you could change the location. They've done it. I'm just saying that it should be considered. So the questions are, this property's been for years, numerous, Mary's aware of it. They tried to, she said herself that there's been so many problems with the sewer and runoff. So why all of a sudden, whether it's just speculation and he's not sure if it's going to go this way or that way, until we really know, it's kind of a waste. But if you know there's an extreme problem with the sewer, then why would you even consider any kind of building whatsoever there? Let alone if eventually it becomes high density, whatnot. But the question is, he says, he's trying to be a good neighbor, and it's not really for him. Then why do work trucks come late at night, coming and going after dark?
Bill, do you want to take that one?
I will check on that. That was not an intent. What do you mean later? Which?
It's trail cameras.
Can everyone please remain respectful, please? He's here answering questions.
If it was legit,
Which timing was when you have seen trucks coming?
It's after dark, late at night, after 9:30, doesn't seem
After
normal.
9:30?
9
I
o'clock,
don't think,
listen,
doesn't make sense.
It's still after dark.
Doesn't make
I'll
sense.
come into after dark. So,
Af-
and the gate's left wide open, it just seems like you have a gate, you could say to protect people, but to me, the construction or the vehicles or things that are going on at night. That's not normal. That means you're trying to.
We'll make sure that it doesn't go on at night.
I just want to say, as behalf of the town, whoever owns the property has the right innately, top constitution, federal law, state law, and town code only adds layers of protection and restriction. We are land use stewards.
I understand that.
I just want to put that on the record. I hear what everyone is concerned about.
He borders directly the lake, drinking water. So because he directly is drinking water, it's even more of a concern of runoff, oil. I didn't say him, but there are people that tend to do things and then ask for forgiveness later on.
And that's why we're hosting this, and that's why we're hosting it now. And he doesn't have to. And we're just here tonight to show the status of the property because so many people all over online were claiming that there was utter devastation to this land. And when we look at these photos, we can see that no actually living trees, no disturbance to the tree line, nothing. Our home is not being taken from us. That's what we're trying to come here, whether it's last minute, I appreciate that, but we did pack the room and we did what best we could to assuage people who might be lying awake in their beds wondering what's going on next door to them. Seriously, there's been a serious outcry, and why now? Because my office is getting flooded with misinformation and calls and concerns from residents, from people who are fear-mongering. We want to do everything that we can to reassure those residents, and when a plan, when it comes, we will have another one of these sessions, whether that's in September or another time.
So if you can, whatever you see, if you see a truck coming late, if you can take a picture with the time, I don't know if you want to send it to building inspector or to me.
If people have recordings, if people do have pictures, rather than him, who do they present it to?
They can show it to me and I can hold him
Also the
accountable, but
building-
it's not against the
building
law. That's the thing. There's no, after, we have quiet hours, so if there's a loud disturbance, if the truck is making a loud disturbance, we can certainly hold them accountable to quiet hours, but there's no.
I have no intent that it should work at night after dark, and I have no issue if you
I know,
can.
not you, but and this is just an example. If you were to dump a body, or I'm just saying, right? If you were to dump a body, or you were to do toxic dumping or something like that, would you do it in broad daylight, or would you tend to do it late at night? Just asking.
2 a.m.
2 a.m., right? So let's
So they
maybe yes, maybe no, you're
So
very
they work-
vague
so
on the
it's-
questions. You're close to Fauci,
so
not exactly Fauci, but if you, and the only thing I feel, I'm going to bring up later on, I brought it up last time at the zoning board meeting. I've never seen, being in law enforcement for 39 years, I've never seen a person, just happened to be yourself, I've been coming to meetings for 29 years, and I've never seen a town board supervisor taking sides. I always felt the town supervisor.
This is just completely inappropriate. We've now let you speak. We've allowed this meeting, we've allowed you to speak, and then you were immediately directed to misinformation about a prior zoning meeting. Good-hearted.
They use the example, how it appears.
I attend every after-hours meeting because my responsibility is to this town. My responsibility is to the law, it's upholding this law, and it is serving our residents. I attend the after-hours meeting because I'm the liaison to several groups, and those boards typically invite or thank me for the notes that I then provide and the coordination that I then provide to this branch of government, because someone has to be the liaison for those meetings.
But in law enforcement, there's something called leading the witness.
I think that this is enough now. I respect everything that you have contributed, but I wholeheartedly disagree, and I regret that you've used this platform for this purpose. Can you please sit down now? Thank you.
Iris Conk, followed by Steve Thaw. Just to let everyone know, we've implemented a 3-minute timer.
Good evening, how are you?
My name is Iris Conk, and I'm at 44 East Crossman Avenue, Town of Monroe. I'm asking about the property on Lakes Road next to Monarchis.
Bill, can you just hand her your mic? No? Okay, she got it.
As George.
I'm asking about the property on Lakes Road next to Monarchis, where the...
Mike.
Oh,
Just.
okay. Sorry.
Okay, reset her. Thank you. Go ahead, just hold it.
Okay. I'm asking about the property on Lakes Road next to Monarchis. Have they had permits granted to do any digging so far? They stopped digging for a couple of weeks. It seemed like then this past Friday I saw them back with the big machines digging again. Are these properties large enough to have a sewer hookup? Because I heard that they weren't. And if they aren't going to be able to hook up, why are they disturbing the woods and displacing wild animals from their homes for no reason? That's being selfish. Also, the land is at such an incline to begin with. It looks like if it rains or if the snow melts, the runoff is going to go right onto Lakes Road and make a mess and a driving hazard. I don't believe any houses belong in that spot.
Joel, can you just take?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Steve Thaw, followed by Carol Hawkshurst.
Steve, you can try fixing that, but it's very quiet, so if you need to just turn that, there's something wrong. It's off now, I turned it off.
I have a couple questions. The first is you mentioned we a lot. Who exactly are the officers and the principals of the LLC? And also we'd like to know any and all persons who have a financial interest in this property. That's my first question. The other thing is that we did not receive a response about disturbing the wetlands that was asked by Mr. Lundy. The other thing I have is that also there was digging going on and you did not call 811 to dig as required by New York State law. I confirm that. Can you respond to that as well? And the last thing I have to say is that the tree law was enacted by the hard work of the Conservation Commission and the previous board. Thank you. Can you answer those questions, please?
The maximum digging, so-called digging, is about 12 inches, and it was not closed. There's no any utilities besides the sewer that's very visible. The DEC was on the site, and as per my knowledge, there's no violation. If there's any, they will coordinate with me. I have no idea. I don't know how people can know better than a property owner. And the owners is, I put myself out, and I'm not sure if I need to disclose anyone else unless I go before the planning board. Thank you.
Carol Hawkshurst, followed by Tony Cardone.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mann, you said that you owned the land for how long, did you say?
About 8 years.
8 years. And you're a planner, correct? Yes. You said? Thank you.
Put the mic in the stand.
He wants everybody to stop messing with the AV setup. He's mad that we're touching his microphones. He said, put it back.
You mentioned you walked a property with several agencies, including the DEC. And didn't you say you can't estimate the amount of wetlands there? I'm surprised.
They didn't stake any wetlands because
Okay.
because I didn't disturb any of it. So
But you don't know how much is their estimate, just owning that property?
no, it's probably like 5-6 acres, probably something in that range.
Okay.
It's basically the length of the shore. But
Thank you. Okay. And then you mentioned, Mr. Mann, how much attention this is getting. Residents who live here are suspect because there's a large chain link fence around the entire property. And as you've heard tonight, people have seen the trenches, the sewer pipes on the ground, and electric panels, and know nothing, and I do appreciate that there is some discussion about this, so we can get some answers, although we're not really getting all the answers we're looking for. And I'm wondering, you said passive recreation, so this would be for everyone? That's the property you're thinking about, passive rec, so that would be for all citizens, all of Monroe?
Oh, the property owners.
Just the property owner?
Yeah.
For passive recreation for whoever, okay.
Passive
All right,
recreation.
that was it.
Just-
Okay, thank you.
Passive recreation.
I don't know what passive recreation is.
Tony
evening.
Cardone, followed by Tim Mitz.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony Cardone. I am a 38-year resident of Round Lake Park Road, and I've been coming up here since the 60s. My mom and dad moved us up to Cromwell Hill Road, and essentially Round Lake was the area I hung out in through my college years. While Mr. Mann did receive a permit for the road opening, that was only done after there was a stop work order issued because you didn't apply for it. You went ahead and did the work without running through the proper procedures in the town. You had claimed that you didn't know how deep the sewer interceptor was, and yet you said you only dug 12 inches, but regardless of the depth, there's no minimum depth requirement that exempts you from calling 811. You must contact 811 before any digging project, regardless of how shallow it is. Many internet cables, utility lines are buried just a few inches to a foot beneath the surface. So if you didn't know how deep the sewer interceptor was, you most definitely should have called 811. The question I have for you, you claim that you replaced the culverts there, but there was trenching that I have photos of that was probably 100 feet long. And those pipes that were placed in there were not the size of culvert pipes, which are usually 18 to 24 inches. These pipes looked like they were galvanized pipes or plastic pipes, and they were 8 to 10 inches. Can you explain what those pipes were used for? Because that's not a drainage pipe. And remember, the county was not informed of this because I was one of the ones that contacted the legislature to make sure they were notified about it, and they were not. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you mind sending the photos to the building inspector if you have not yet already? Also, Joel, do you have a response to those questions?
No.
All right, who is the next speaker?
Tim Mitz, he's not here at the moment, but that's the last speaker.
Okay. Any last comments? I did want to confirm that the building inspector, oh, one more.
Could you come up and sign in and then come up to the podium?
The procedure is to sign in and please step up to the mic so that you'll be on the record. I just wanted to confirm that we did just receive a lot of calls, obviously, from the Round Lake community about activity on the day that we did issue the stop work order. I believe that Bill Brown is not here today, but Joel, did you speak to Bill Brown before initiating what location you were going to place the driveway? And could you actually explain that process?
So initially, I started there was 8 years ago when I accessed the property first, there was a trail with an access on Front Street, not where I did the opening now. It was further down. It was there where I started to do the opening until I think the building inspector, I don't know, there was back and forth conversation between the building inspector and Bill Brown, if I need a permit, if I don't need a permit. Then when I started They came back, there was a lot of calls from neighbors, they came back, okay, they stopped me, I need a permit, so I right away applied for a permit, and at that point, it was decided that the best access by them should be from where we did it right now, and we didn't have any specific, we just tried to choose an area where we don't need to cut any trees, that we can go between the trees.
And what precisely, and again, I don't want to speak on behalf of Bill because he's not here, but when I got involved, it was not because I'm an agent that has direct control over this, but more as the supervisor who's receiving complaints from the public, who is receiving complaints now from multiple departments that have to coordinate. When I came in, Bill was aware of a conversation that you'd had with him, that you were seeking a driveway permit, and that seemed to be the initiation of that process, that there was just a form that one fills out for a driveway access, a conversation that happens, and then a certification once that process is actually completed. Is that correct?
Yes, and we followed that. Once it was clear which direction I need to go, I stopped right away, and until we finished the process, we took care of the process, and then...
And there was a homeowner, Jim Connolly, is he here tonight? The neighbor on 21.
The neighbor was concerned that I'm
Front
going
Street.
to make a major road, and I explained
Yes.
to him what I'm doing, because he was the guy who I sold.
When I
that
came
portion.
in, the clearest path environmentally was right by 21 Front Street for a driveway. Bill Brown had asked you not to go through that direction and to move it over to what you were referring to as the original access. However, when I take a deep look at that, it's an extreme crossing. It would have caused environmental issues with wetlands, and it was I believe, a Class B stream. We decided that that was not pertinent, and we did place a temporary, probably an hour, stop work order before we coordinated across several departments, and went out, walked the property, removed the stop work order, collaborated on the 21 Front Street access, and then Bill, I believe, did he finally certify that driveway? Did he formally certify that driveway? Bill Brown?
Bill Brown, yes.
Yes, he did?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happened, and so he did follow the town process for a driveway
Whatever Bill
permit.
asked me, a couple other things, whatever he asked me, I did for him right away, so.
Okay, sir,
Hi, good evening.
good evening.
I just have two questions.
Please state your name.
Jason Marine, good evening. What process does our town leadership have in place to enforce the obvious disregards to the rules that the town has in regards to digging that Mr. Mann appears to have violated? What process does our leadership have in place for those violations?
So in response to alleged violations and complaints, we do an investigation through our building department. So now hearing this at this meeting tonight, we will process these complaints. If residents who mentioned photographs and other trenching and such, I will just refer this matter to the building department. We have those limitations in the state and local codes that they oversee.
Clearly, it seems like it's like do first and ask later. But my next question is, how do we ensure that this doesn't continue and that Mr. Mann doesn't continue to violate basic ordinances requirements that our town has implemented and put in place for the town's and the people's safety?
So for 811, I don't believe that that's a town-regulated issue. It is a law. I think it is a state ordinance. I don't know if our building department so far, I spoke with him earlier today, and Joel Mann did actually let him know that he was doing digging and trenching and modifying those lines, so he's aware of it. It's really a case-by-case specific. I don't want to speak, again, in detail for any parties. My building inspector is an accredited, code enforcement officer, so I leave the specific investigations and circumstances to him as well as to the DEC, who have been out there multiple times. This is new information about 811, so we'll look into it, but we've been in constant, he's here, sitting here, trying to answer residents' questions, and he has no obligation to be here. So in that way, we have to appreciate the effort of coordination and ask that obviously more attention to those kinds of details and more coordination be done. However, in speaking to my building inspector this afternoon, he was aware that some digging was going on. So I would have to really just get that answer from him. I believe there are some things that are not regulated locally, and that the DEC and even the county, if it's their easement and their sewer lines, they would be the regulatory body. So it becomes sometimes complicated, which is why we need coordinated review and people following the project, such as myself, who do try to hold these events to try to coordinate all different pieces that are moving and that we might not see, so that we can protect the parcel.
I appreciate the answer. This isn't a question, it's more like a comment, and I mean no disrespect by it, but it appears to most of us in the town that you appear to be, the perception is that you're somewhat complicit in turning your back on the town for whatever the favorable outcome of someone else may be. That's not necessarily the main core of the town. So I just wanted to inform you in case you weren't aware. Your perception to the town doesn't appear to be great. That's all.
Yeah, again, I ran on a Preserve Monroe platform. I canceled an $18 million housing development that the other, actually, $150 million housing development that the other administration made in a lawsuit settlement for alleged illegal discrimination that was settled because they stopped a development that should have been allowed through. No, Mr. Cardone, this is lawsuit settlement documents, and you're the one sitting in the audience. So why are we careful? Again, we are land use stewards. People have the right to use these lands, and the fact that we are holding this meeting tonight and holding this open forum for residents is a sign that we are paying attention and doing everything that we can. We will not bring down the hammer on someone and make illegal choices, reckless choices that wind up hurting the town, the budget, and the residents. We are still paying $18.5 million off of land that was worth about $9 million that we had the opportunity to purchase. No, again, stop calling out from the audience. Show respect. I want to just ask for order, and everyone, please, we're all just here. Again, ran on a preservation platform. We are doing the best that we can. We are not going to be violating the law. We're going to be lawfully overseeing what happens at the property. This was a special presentation to let people know that there wasn't any tree clearing, cutting, and that Round Lake is intact, and to express the concerns now before anything is proposed. We, as the town, it is our job to oversee planning. It's literally our main function is to regulate land use and be land use stewards. We cannot bar or select who owns a property, who builds on a property, or what comes up on it on a case-by-case basis. We do comprehensive plan reviews, we do zoning, we do broad strokes based on environmental purpose, restraints, all of these things, and we are prepared to handle this project just as we have been prepared in the past with great support staff such as our code enforcement officers, our Conservation Commission Chair who's here tonight. Thank you, Tomm Lawrence, for all the great work that you've been doing, all volunteers that are going to be overseeing this project, including our planning board. I don't believe our zoning board will have much say in it, but thank you, Joel, for the answers that you did provide, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you again.
Thank you.
I'm going to call just a 5-minute recess.
Are you making a motion?
I don't need to. right, if everyone can please make their way back to their seats.
Yeah, it hurts. Yeah.
Excuse me, everyone. We're just looking to restart the meeting.
I think that might be in the village.
Please, everybody, make your way back
Okay.
to your seats.
Okay. It's not in the same. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. We're going to be, I'll just make a motion to re-enter the meeting of 8/10/2026 at 8:24 p.m.
Rivera will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
So we have the authorization for the supervisor to sign the IMA for control of snow and ice on certain county roads. Would someone take this one for me?
We're missing 8.2,
Oh, oops.
the assessor's office.
Okay. There we go. So, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe makes a motion approving Carla McNamara, the assessor, and Caroline Steinhauer, assistant assessor, to ascend the 2026 NYSA, New York State Assessors Association Fall Conference taking place September 29th through October 1st of 2026 at the Windrose on the Hudson in Austining, New York. The amount is not to exceed, what is the total? $2,256.44.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Okay, so someone needs to take this
So
one for
the
me.
authorization for the supervisor to sign an IMA for the control of snow and ice on certain county roads. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe made a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign an IMA for the control of snow and ice on certain county roads at a cost of $5,700 per mile. That doesn't seem right. Is that right? Okay. And a total cost of $32,889,000. Can I get a second?
Second for discussion. I'd like to include that it should say County Route 71 and County Route 91 as part of that resolution, because there are other county roads, and I don't want it to be mistaken that we're doing every single county road. I believe those were the only two that I noticed in the documentation I received.
Yes, this is
Schedule A.
limited to the text of the IMA on the screens before you.
Okay.
All set? Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
I'll make the motion to schedule a public hearing for the short-term rental application at 153 Mine Road in Monroe, New York.
Rivera will second.
Call the question.
For September 8th at 7 p.m.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. I will set that public hearing for the date of September 8th, 2026 at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter. And call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
I have at 8.5 the good news of having friends and family who, upon realizing that I have the ability to become a marriage officer, have become engaged and asked, as well as residents, whether I could marry them. There's no additional charge to be of service to the town of Monroe taxpayers, so I am just asking that the board approve the motion to appoint the supervisor as an additional marriage officer. And I do love watching Val bring people onto the balcony and marry people in front of the turkeys. I think it gives me the most joy of the day to see the marriage ceremonies and the women coming in amazing dresses, getting married in front of the turkeys on the deck. So
So this would be a one-time event?
no, it's an additional marriage officer. It's just an appointment.
If it was a one-time, since you had family, I would have supported it. But since it's an additional one, I know we have two judges that also do it, as well as Val. I don't see a reason for another one, but if you did want to do it for your family, I would approve it for a one-time event.
It's a free appointment to be of service as an additional marriage officer that has no effect on the existing marriages officers in the town. So there's no way to make it a one event.
I thought there was a Darius?
There is a way, but that's, I think, not the motion. The other way has nothing to do with the town board. The one-time event someone can do, but it's nothing to
It's
do
not one time, there are multiple residents who have
No, no,
asked
right.
me.
I think
about
he's referring to the one-time marriage officiant law that recently came out.
That's not what I'm seeking.
That's different.
Yeah, I'm just seeking to be of service to the taxpayers who elected me as an additional marriage officer, which is again of no cost to the town. Do I have a second?
Definitely a second because it's no cost to the town.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Hingham, nay.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, nay.
It's a very obvious vote there that is disappointing to the residents who ask the supervisor and their council to be of service.
Well, you do have that option to do the 24-hour one time.
So you're going to
that's
ask
still-
if the
that still option
supervisor
is
apply
available
for
to you.
several
I'm not
residents to
denying
do
it
their
completely.
one-time
You could do the
marriages.
one time. Thank you.
You don't have application authority over the one-time approval. Mary doesn't go through the town. So, new business. Let's see. Motion to approve the transfer of Kirk Villacruz from the Highway Department to the Water Department at his current rate of $42.69, effective August 11th, 2026.
Second, for discussion, that's $42.69 per hour, just to make that clarity.
That is clear. It's his current rate. Thank you. So, any other discussion?
Second it?
She seconded it for discussion, and I'm asking if we can close the discussion, and then I will call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Hingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
So we have 8.7, pre-approval to transfer Eric Kowalski from mechanic to heavy equipment operator, effective hiring a replacement mechanic.
Second, for discussion, again, the $42.69 per hour would be the rate he's going to.
The union has preset, and Eric's currently hourly rate as a mechanic is $46.62, which is in the document in front of you. And the new rate is going to be $42.69 because it is a step down in responsibility. He, due to personal circumstances, has made this request, and he gets this as a union member priority pick because the spot is now vacated by Kirk, who's moving to water. So he will actually be receiving $42.69, which is in the document. Any other questions? Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Hingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Lewis, would you like to make this one? 8.8.
This is an authorization for the supervisor to sign and the finalized ratified Teamsters Union contract, MOA. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe made a motion to authorize the supervisors to sign the ratified Teamsters Union contract, MOA attached. Can I get a second?
Second. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Hingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
I want to thank Lori and everybody who helped us, especially Darius. Thank you for sitting through these long meetings that we had to overcome because they were not allowed, certain funds were not budgeted before the previous administration, including the increase, and certain drivers were not accounted for in the budget. So we had to do a lot of budget and heavy lifting negotiating, and we really appreciate the patience of our Teamsters. And again, Ed Morales, who is not here with us, unfortunately, due to medical incident, we really appreciate all the work of the parties involved. And before we go to public comment, I'd like to pull a very exciting motion from the floor. After speaking to the Conservation Commission chairman, after hearing the crowd who was here previously, who filtered out, we've seen posts, I worked on this issue for years, about pursuing basically a town's ultimate goal in preservation funding and conservation funds. we believe now that we have a majority on the board who agrees, after speaking with Luis Rivera tonight, who was our final holdout, for pursuing the real estate tax transfer legislation through the state. So I would like to make a motion from the floor that just solidifies the town board of the town of Monroe's interest in pursuing real estate tax transfer funds, community preservation tax in real estate tax transfer funds, and authorizing that memo be sent out to the legislature with further details and further more specific resolutions to be made. But we wanted to put this on the record tonight in receiving that. We believe we have a majority of the board now finally interested in that. Would you like to second, Louis, since you were the holdout?
Second.
Yes. Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Hingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.
Yay. Thank you. Okay, public comment, please. Val, you want to read the rules?
First speaker is going to be Mark Lundy, followed by Curtis Kimbrell. Please come up to the mic by the podium, leave the mic in the stand. You'll have 3 minutes. Thank you.
First, I'd like to apologize for Mr. Mann for coming out here tonight to tell us nothing. We know how this is going to play out. I have it on good advice already that a whole truckload of 24-inch sewer pipe is going to be delivered there. I don't know what that's going to be used for, but as far as everything else goes with the fencing and cameras up, I mean, what are we watching, the deer steal firewood? It's just, they don't want anybody seeing what they're doing. It's the way it's always been, that's the way it's going to be. But I fly my drone over it every day, so I know what's going on. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, so we'll deal with a lot of other issues pertaining to that property. Another concern I have are these absentee owners that are buying up these houses in our community. I had a beautiful house across the street from me. Now the weeds are growing over the fences into the road. It took me 2-3 hours. I think Mr. Mann is the owner, from what I was told. But I did get in touch with Mo Schreibner. He's a real estate agent, and he got in touch with somebody who got in touch with somebody. And they told me the tenant's responsible for I said, well, I don't really care who's responsible. Somebody's going to have to come and take, it's a hazard. You come down the end of the road, you can't see. So some kid was out there with a hand sickle for about a half an hour. The garbage is another issue. These people are putting out garbage. I have 10, 12 people living in one house. 6, 8 cars parked on the lawn. They're putting their garbage out, 5, 6 cans of garbage and bags on the side. And now because of this fence, we have a wildlife problem. I have a 500-pound bear walking up my street, tearing up everybody's garbage. And I try to be nice. I mean, don't put your garbage out 2-3 days before collection. Like I said, with the cars, multiple people, parties, constantly. My good friend of mine, my neighbor, my dad's 94 years old. The house behind him, you could, his windows shake. And you call the state troopers and, you know, we don't have the enforcement that we really need in this town. But going forward, I mean, this Round Lake thing, we're not going to give up. Nobody's going to stop. Like you said, they have the right.
Yeah.
There's going to
You have your rights, too.
There's going to be changes. There's going to be changes in the zoning board within the next year. And there's possibly going to be changes right here on this board. And eventually, they're going to get what they want, or they're going to change zoning. And they're not going to build anything on that property now until they're zoned. If anybody's ever driven through the slum of South Blooming Grove, putting up 4-story buildings next to people's residential homes, that's what we're going to be looking at. So until
We have zoning. We have zoning.
But zoning can be changed. South Blooming Grove had zoning. What happened to their zoning? Where do you get off putting a 5-6-story building next to somebody's residential home? If you've ever been up Dolke Avenue, I took my father up there today. He couldn't believe it. But let's see how it goes.
Thank you.
Before Curtis Kimbrell, I'm sorry, I had overlooked the name that was the first name up top was Benny Blackman. Is Benny Blackman still here? Followed by Curtis Kimbrell. My apologies.
You're here to speak about Monroe EMS issues, or because I know you are a member.
Hi everyone, my name is Benjamin Blackman. I'm a long-time resident in Monroe for over 37 years. I've been a volunteer in Monroe EMS for 3 years, almost 3 years. First, I would like to congratulate the town supervisor, my first time speaking since she came into the office. And I wish you a lot of luck and success. And everybody who came into the office, I wish you a lot of success. I've been a member in EMS for a while. I had the opportunity to be a part of saving many lives in this community. And most people are very appreciative. Comparing to other towns, I think Monroe is very low in crimes comparing to other places. I've been going a lot of calls in houses and on the streets for the last 3 years. I can count on one hand how many serious crimes we really had. It's been a pleasure being a volunteer, been a pleasure living here my whole life. I know it would be great if the town, or maybe, I don't know, the village could be helpful. I know there is some grants we should be able to get. I don't know if anyone in the board or anyone can help us with that. But we need to upgrade our ambulances, our fly car, and our equipment. It's been a little outdated, but a positive note, I can say that the number of responses that we have from volunteers and the percentage of calls that's getting covered, I would say probably 30% higher than it was 3 years ago. And thank God I had many opportunities to save a lot of lives in this town. I'm very proud of it. So hopefully, I don't know who to sit down with. Hopefully there is someone who can help us out, or help us up with some government grants. We should be able to build it up. Now, I've been there for the last few meetings. The only thing I hear in the meetings is negativity. People are harassing the new town supervisor and other how do you say, the board members in personal matters and on social and public matters, both on social media and here, nasty things and bad things about the supervisor and the co-workers in their personal life. And the things that people are harassing are about good things that she does for the community. And especially the last time I was there, one of the town board members was fighting in front of everyone instead of having like an e-board meeting like we do, fighting in public in front of everybody. I don't think it was a nice thing that would happen. And my question is, how come I've been at the last 4, maybe 5 meetings, I hardly hear someone coming up congratulating the new supervisor or give her ideas or offer volunteering or help, anything that I can help. She's been in less than a half a year, and instead of coming up and saying I can help, I can volunteer, or ideas what we can do good things, the only thing most people are doing is just talking bad stuff about her. Boom.
Thank you.
I'm almost
We
finished.
only allow
Come on,
3
people.
minutes. No, it's okay.
I just want to finalize.
I appreciate your comments, and we can help Nancy and you with Monroe EMS issues. I did actually speak with Nancy about Millennium Grants.
Was the whole EMS thing part of the 3 minutes?
Yes, thank you so much.
It should be a separate thing.
I'm happy to continue this conversation in any way you want to volunteer, and I did just want to give you a round of applause for coming in during this week for a medical emergency that we had with our court staffer. You were there so fast with the remaining of the village, PD, and everyone. It was extremely helpful. We want to thank you for your service, and we look forward to working with Monroe EMS any way that we can. Next speaker?
Curtis Kimbrell, followed by John Sikora.
Good evening, and first I want to just thank each of you for your willingness to serve our town. Tonight I'd like to encourage the board to begin working on what I think would be become one of the most important projects that we would work on together, and that is updating our comprehensive plan. Many positive steps have been taken since the publication in 2017. We've seen continued attention given to environmental review, zoning updates, infrastructure planning, open space preservation, and architectural and development standards. Those efforts deserve recognition. At the same time, many of the points of the plan are simply outdated or remain unfinished. And most importantly, Monroe itself has changed. So today we face new questions that deserve thoughtful public discussion. How do we provide housing opportunities for young families, seniors, our workforce, while preserving neighborhood character? How do we continue protecting our lakes, streams, forests, and open spaces while adapting to increased development pressure and changing environmental conditions? How do we strengthen our commercial tax base to reduce pressure on residential taxpayers? How do we improve transportation, public safety, pedestrian safety, emergency services, parks, recreation, broadband infrastructure, community resilience over the next 20 years? How do we ensure that future growth pays for itself and remains fiscally sustainable? These are not questions that should be answered one development application at a time. They should be answered through a comprehensive planning process that reflects the voice of the entire community. So my hope is that something during the coming year, this board would consider authorizing beginning the 2027 comprehensive plan update. Such efforts could include updating census, economic data, housing needs assessment, fiscal impact and analysis, infrastructure, capacity studies, transportation planning, conservation priorities, recreation planning, and a plethora of other things. So updating our comprehensive plan is an opportunity to build on those strengths, not because the previous plan failed, but because good planning is never finished. So thank you for your time, for your service, and for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for so much for everything you do on the planning board. Doing a good job.
John Sikora, followed by Mike Andrizzi.
Good evening.
Good evening. John Sikora, resident of the town of Monroe. Tonight, I would like to address some of the differences that have emerged during our town meetings and specifically within our town council. Maureen, strong leadership isn't about surrounding yourself with people who think, act, or see the world exactly as you do. It's about having the confidence to embrace differences and recognize the value they bring. Every person has a unique perspective, experience, and way of solving problems. A strong leader should not feel threatened by those differences. They welcome them. They listen, create space for different voices, and understand that disagreement can lead to better decisions and new ideas. Having said that, I would like to commend Councilwoman Bethany Stevens for having the courage to speak out. She has differences of opinion, and it appeared that you attempted to dismiss or disregard those opinions. I appreciate her ability to work across party lines with Councilman Sal Scancerello. We need to see more of this working together. It should not matter what title appears behind or in front of your name, whether it's supervisor, council member, Republican, or Democrat. The reality is that the only title that should matter is neighbor. As neighbors, we should all respect each other and our differences of opinion. Last time I spoke, Maureen, I mentioned that a good leader recognizes their own strengths and weaknesses. Your youth is both an advantage and disadvantage. You bring a fresh perspective, an abundance of energy and ambition, and hopefully a long-term vision for our beautiful town, not just now, but for our children, that they may still be proud to call Monroe their home. You also have limited experience. Your calm under pressure and ability to accept criticism need work. However, you are not alone, and you need to humble yourself and embrace the strengths and resources that exist on our own town council instead of alienating them. I pray that we are all able to do better, because this town deserves better than what you've shown us to date. Thank you.
Mike Andrizzi, followed by Carol Scully.
So just one or two things I wanted to get on the record. There's something called a scenic byway or scenic vistas that's associated with that property. So if you have that
In the comprehensive plan, sorry.
whatever that guy's name was, going back to the original public comment.
Joel Manns.
Joel Manns, you're cutting into my 3 minutes. Sorry, Yeah, the plan that he's talking about doing by Round Lake. So what that means is you're supposed to protect the beauty, and you're limited to what you could build there, how big, how
Are
much.
you referencing our zoning code, our comprehensive plan, or a state ordinance? I'm sorry, I was just questioning where scenic vistas.
It's in there. That's where you are the experts. I'm telling you, with all the meetings I've been to, it's in there. I don't know. I'd have to look it up myself, but at least you have it, and then you could say, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of times people buy land and they think they could build, and then they find out that they're limited to what they could build to maintain the integrity of the area. So that's number one. Number two, only because somebody else brought up garbage. Why is there so many garbage cans allowed across the street from Town Hall? They'll have 6, 8, 10, 12 garbage cans, always. Not, holidays, we overlook things, everybody has something, but it's right across the street, you can't miss it. There's 2 houses in particular.
It's
the
the
garbage
village.
is always there.
The town hall is in the village of Monroe.
But it's still, you work there, you could reach out, to the village and say, listen, somebody be knocking on my door, giving me a summons. And I know that in the past administration, they were limiting to how many garbage pails you could put out. They were concerned about the expense of garbage collection, limiting it to 1 or 2 cans. So I just think, even if somebody went over there and said, look, you got to clean up after yourselves. So that's 2. I have 2 more things. How do we protect Berry Road Park? That was never deemed parkland, so that doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And how do we protect the Rye Hill corridor, that whole area, so that doesn't somewhere along the way, if the board changes, that doesn't fall into the wrong use or what it was intended for. And now the final is, why is there no ethics committee? I'm just curious. This is what I read in the planning board. Maybe a little bit of Facebook. Again, you asked to speak to clarify things. I'm not saying you got to give an answer now, but it should be addressed.
Facebook is the devil. How about that?
So I'm not a Facebook person.
We have
I'm
the
not on
answer
it.
to your question.
But it was I believe, I don't want to be misquoted. It was the photo news, I believe. But I was also reading something about the building inspector will be in charge of. You were thinking about putting the planning board and the zoning board underneath it. I know, like, when you have, ethics and stuff, that's supposed to be separate, but this is the concept of it. The zoning board should be separate so that they can make their own decisions. They shouldn't be influenced or overpowered or threatened. And I happened to be at the last meeting where the building inspector said,
Was not there at the meeting. The building inspector was not present at the
wasn't present, but you stated that he, and the planning board was the one saying that he gave permission, and that's what caused the problem. And now, when he violated the 811, even the Boy Scouts have to call 811. Everybody's got to call 811. And you said, the inspector gave him permission. That's a way out.
No, he did not give him permission.
That's what you said.
No, I did not. No, I did not. He said he's
inspector-
aware of it. As of today, we had a conversation. He will have to do an investigation. I don't even know if that's his purview. Again, I said I did not want to speak on behalf of the building inspector. However, I was aware of it, and so was he. That Joel Mann did reach out, have a conversation, that he was going to be doing digging. It is whether, again, we can't stop someone if we get, it's like a child, right? If you get a call from your 16-year-old, Dad, I'm taking my new car out to a friend's house, we're going to have a sleepover, I swear it's just going to be me and Timmy, and we're going to stay in all night and we're going to watch a movie, and then you get a call at 3 a.m. that he's in the police station, it wasn't just him and Timmy, and they're drunk. You do everything that you can.
Maybe I misunderstood
He's licensed, the car was insured, you
But 811,
asked
when you
him
do any
to swear
project-
to me. We will look into it,
But
and
811, it
we're
says
taking it
that's
seriously.
required. It doesn't say the building inspector gives you the right to dig.
No, it does
says
not.
811 separate, because that covers all, as somebody previously said, so I don't
You
want to cut
can't
into you.
stop people from violating. You can only enforce and do an investigation and hold them accountable to what laws we have on the books, and that is what we will do with this new information. Again, if anybody who has photographs, just be careful with those doors, please. Anyone who has photographs relating to this allegation, please send them to me and the building inspector. Is there any other speaker?
Sorry?
Is there any other speaker?
So just to end, last thing was that, again, to reiterate, I feel that was purposely put in separately, to have the zoning board separate from the planning board, you're separate to remain neutral, to have all separate things, not to one person's going to be the almighty God or the almighty leader. And again, other people are addressing the same thing. It's not what is, it's how it's perceived. You know, you might be doing it, and you could say legally, but it's how it's perceived. It looks wrong to keep jumping up and cheering for the person and helping the person and leading
And
the
it
person
doesn't
on.
help that you have people on Facebook making comments.
I'm not
left and
doing
right.
any of that. I
I'm
have
not
nothing to
saying
do
you.
with that.
I'm not
But
saying you,
I'm
but
not-
there's people adding kerosene to the flame and saying,
Well, I'm not
and
trying
it
to do
continue.
that. I'm not trying to do that. I'm
Listen,
just-
we have facts and sometimes opinions. We find them valuable. We hear what
Okay.
your concerns are, but it is complicated, and I do have the answers to these questions, but we do have to allow the next speaker.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Carol Scully, followed by Christine Anisco.
Good evening.
Carol Scully. Since we move on from topic to topic over the course of all of these meetings, I would like everyone to not forget. Number one, appointment of a liaison with a direct line of communication to the town supervisor. Number two, street lights installed on Seven Springs Road without any needs assessment completed. Three, dial-a-bus agreement with South Blooming Grove after terminating a long-term agreement with the town of Woodbury. 4, single-handedly making an agreement with South Blooming Grove to fix the septic odor problem at Airplane Park in the village. 5, possible development of a 72-acre parcel on Front Street, Round Lake Park. According to the supervisor, no worries there, nothing's going on. Then why all the controversy and special treatment for the owner of this property? 6, proposed bus depot with 30 buses near the Orange and Rockland Lake for parking, fuel, and maintenance. This has all occurred in the time frame of the first 6 months of our current administration, town supervisor. We have 2.5 years left to go. Care to imagine what Monroe is going to look like after that time? Promises made, promises kept. This has to stop. It's happening way too fast. And if you really cared about preserving the town of Monroe, stop avoiding a moratorium on building and think of a comprehensive plan. Thank you.
Christine Anisco, followed by Michael Summer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name's Christine Anisco. I'm a new resident of Monroe. I live at the corner of Berry Road and Rye Hill Road. And I'm here because the intersection has an ongoing traffic concern and issue. I have called the police, I think, about 3 times because there's a lot of racing and speeding and constant disregard of the stop signs there. I also learned that there were 3 significant accidents at my property before I bought it, where I am still cleaning up glass of cars that came through into the yard twice, and they also damaged shrubs. So I am a little concerned because I was a long-term renter in Warwick, and I've called the town police and sheriff's office, and there's been no jurisdiction like follow-up or checking of that area. So I would love any information on how to remedy that. And the second reason that I'm here is that there's a reoccurring vehicle noise and prolonged idling happening. Berry Road and Rye Hill are fun roads to drive, and there's a lot of racing going on into the evenings in the weekend nights, Fridays and Saturdays, and very, very loud and disturbing a lot of the neighbors, the wildlife, my pets. So I wanted to please have a investigation or some follow-up names of who I can speak with.
I appreciate that, and I just wanted to give you a direct answer right away. So we have the state police, and I just wanted to double check that Barry and Ryle is only in the town, correct? Not in the village? It's only the town. So unfortunately, that intersection and that road is only covered by state police. So I'm happy to reach out to the new zone captain Kirkland over there, who we had a meeting, Councilman Stevens, myself, and the Secretary to the Supervisor, Stephen Mahano, when he was new out there, and they were actually nice enough to tell us that if we had any problematic streets, that they would, camp an officer out there. However, past practice is that they are covering, Troop F is doing the entire Zone 5, and coverage, it can be slim. They're doing highway patrol, drug busts, all of these sort of high-profile, state-level cases. So we get them when they're available. And so it's a problem. It's an ongoing problem with the town of Monroe that we are actively trying to address. When we were running, we platformed on a village IMA with the village police to try to get some kind of enforcement and speed assist. However, I've spoken to village police and they are stretched thin as well, so anything that we do is going to have to really be reviewed. It's a lot of money it's many millions to get our own police force. It's about $5.5 million the last time that we were quoted. So we are actively trying to find reliable, I spoke to Sheriff Paul Arteta, the county sheriff. I spoke to DA Hoover about a needs assessment, about getting police, and it's very, if we can make it work with state police for the sake of taxpayers, try to do that. So we're investigating creative solutions. We're trying to find someone who can do a needs assessment, someone who can make this recommendation, but in the short term, I thank you for coming out. I'm sorry that you've been experiencing that, and I will definitely let Captain Armani know and ask that a trooper is dispatched to that location to see if we can sort of quiet things down for you.
Well, thank you. And in addition, perhaps like a study of the intersection, better signage. There's just not a lot of reason for people to follow any rules because there's nothing posted. Even there's a downed sign on my lawn that's a town sign that's just some warning that I don't know what it is, but it's actually in the grass. It's falling
Okay,
down.
you can provide the address and I will have the highway superintendent come out and take a look. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Sorry.
Michael Summer, followed by Dan Burke.
Good evening. Thank you
Good
for
evening.
allowing me to speak. Mike Summer, 56 High Ridge Road. I just wanted to make some comments about Water District 1. I, along with other residents, have visited and talked with more than 60 homeowners in Water District 1 in the High Ridge Road and Rye Hill Road area. The one thing that is unanimous is they do not want well water. Let me say that again. They do not want well water and are willing to pay the increased water rates now and into the future. The board has stated they are pursuing well option to prevent increased water rates for the homeowners. So if the overwhelming majority of homeowners want to stay on village water and are willing to pay the increased rates, then why is the board pushing this option? Why not just replace the pump station, which was the original intent? 2, the village water source has been a reliable and clean source of water for Water District 1. We've never lost water because Lake Mombaisha dried up over a 50-year period. It's a good track record. The track record shows village water can be relied on. As has been stated many times, both at town board meetings and in emails, High Ridge was originally on well and it dried up. If the board ultimately decides to override the residents' wishes and go on well water, what guarantees will they provide to the residents that history will not repeat itself? I am aware of the pros and cons of both well water and surface water, and I have given them in emails to you, to the board. One is not superior to the other. As an example, New York City gets its water from 19 surface reservoirs and boasts one of the best waters in the county or in the country. In fact, it has been called the champagne of water. So my question to you is, if it's not broken, why fix it? Thank you.
Thank you, but it is broken, and that's why we're fixing it. So I will answer that more in detail, but we appreciate your concerns.
Dan Burke, followed by David Hernandez.
Okay. Hi, Dan Burke, elder statesman, Rye Hill Road, Village of Monroe, Town of Monroe, and a recent birthday, so I'm even more of an elder statesman.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I know the town board follows Robert's Rules of Order, but and there's a number of publishers, number of editions, so maybe not tonight. I could find out which particular edition governs these meetings, and so I can get myself a copy. And I know that the town emails and in-town texts are subject to Freedom of Information Act, and so they can be foiled, so everybody could read them. And I wonder, does that apply also to personal emails of a public official or personal texts? I don't need the answer right away, but, and then, oh yeah, I had a very nice occasion. I got married February 25th, 2023. Had to come here for the license. And Valerie, thank you, Valerie. Valerie helped, and Barbara Singer. And it was a wonderful occasion. The community was happy, you know. And then the wedding itself was over in Goshen, and the Supreme Court Justice officiated. But with all the negative and tough duties that town supervisor has, I think that the town board should let her have a pleasant occasion like that from time to time. And I think I'd hope they reconsider, and maybe in September bring it up again. And then regarding the police, some time ago I was at a town board meeting over at the senior center, and the subject was the theater finances, and one of the councilmen misquoted me by name. So I jumped up and said, "Point of personal privilege." And the supervisor, the chair said, "Sit down, sit down." I said, "Point of personal privilege. Sit down, sit down." And then since I'm not sitting down, he picked up his phone, he went into the back room to call the state police. And while he was in there, the town attorney said, "Mr. Burke, those points can be raised by town board members, but not by the audience." So I sat down. You know, I thanked him and I sat down, and I didn't go to jail that night, which is nice. But you would think someone who has chaired that many meetings and knew how to run a meeting would know that you don't yell out, "You're a liar," from the back of the room.
Thank you. Is there another speaker?
David Fernandez, followed by Steve Thaw.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
I'd like to say thank you for your service, and also thank you for the neighbors to be here. My name is David Fernandez, and kind of recent neighbor also, moved in here last year and everything, left New York City for 1,001 reasons. And one of the things I'd like to bring awareness is the fact that, like as you say, we're stewards of this we're stewards of Monroe and our land. We need to be aware of several things. For example, several states in this country have been going through a drought for over 20 years that people are unaware of, that our general public is unaware of. But what the politicians in those communities are doing, allowing AI data centers be built and taking the drain of the water resources, which are affecting the communities and also impacting the environment. Texas, several years ago, had a major flood that nearly flooded half the state. And that was because of not strictly global warming. It was because of local politicians allowing mass buildup in building these communities that did not need to be made in areas that devastated the natural resources and barriers that withheld flooding, and half the state had flooded. Look in Colorado, the Colorado River. Good portions of the reason why the Colorado River is also being depleted is because, once again, local politicians and also developers had built areas of luxury homes, golf courses, and grasslands, private grass, that never existed but now are depleting water resources for a select few. And here we are again. We're allowing a select few of individuals to build residential properties that are impacting our community, our neighbors, and impacting our resources for a select few. And I'm not trying to be pointing out, but also they are segregating themselves as well as other residents. Learning from this community, I've learned that our Our elementary schools are being depleted in the population. Why? Because there are less and yes young families moving into this community. Why? Because of what's going on. They cannot find affordable housing, but yet they're barred from moving into these communities that are barring and not allowing others to move in, regardless of race, color, and creed. We need to pay attention to that. We are neighbors, and we need to allow other neighbors to move in and respect one another. Also, this plan to bring in a bus depot that once again is for a select few. I'm sorry, I'll make this part really quick because it's going to affect our community as in traffic, pollution, everything. We're allowing a bus depot to be built that's only strictly catering to a select few going to Brooklyn. We already have commuter buses that already impact our community. We don't need a select bus depot. If they want a bus depot, they could build it in their own community. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Steve Thaw, followed by Tony Cardone.
Good evening.
Good evening, Steve Thaw, Town of Monroe. I have a couple things to go over. First is our Q&A session tonight. I don't think we really got any clear answers. In fact, most of the pressing questions went unanswered. Second issue I have is that where are we with establishing an independent HR firm to address concerns or complaints by Town of Monroe employees? Another topic, it was brought up to this town board approximately 2 months ago in the June meeting about the NICLAS investments. According to the numbers I have in 2023, NICLAS investments based on interest. 2023, the Town of Monroe made approximately $845,500. 2024, $880,676, and the 2025, $812,283. Here we are, 8.5 months into the year. We're in August of 2026. I estimate approximately $560,000 in lost revenue for the Town of Monroe for their budget. That falls squarely on the budget officer. The other thing I have is you stated earlier that the Rye Hill property was an abomination, was a disaster. However, in August of 2023, you took credit for stopping it, but when it was announced by the then town board that the property was going to be purchased, not only were you thrilled, but you jumped up clapping, and I know this because I was sitting 2 seats over from you, and that included the purchase price, which now on the other side, you now discredit. So again, when it was talked about the purchase price of the Rye Hill project, you jumped up and down clapping and thrilled and yelling out how happy you were.
No.
Now it's a different story. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to respond to the fact
Tony
that
Cardone, followed by Carol Hawkshurst.
there are 2 distinct meetings and the purchase price was not mentioned at the property acquisition vote.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
One thing with regard to the water department, and I'll direct it at you, Mary, and you, Bethany, because I think you're both best suited to handle this. You're dealing now with a $300,000 additional salary and benefit hit with employees, okay? I'm hoping that money is not coming out of the general fund and that it's coming out of the water district specifically, where it's spread out amongst all the districts. I think your job as supervisor is not to be attending other board members and promoting developers and their projects like you did with Mr. Mann's bus depot at the ZBA meeting. That's unprofessional, and I just can't see anyone wanting to do that if they're looking to be transparent. It's a perception that the public is very disheartened by, and I know that because of the people that have approached many of us in the community. And my last comment is to the attorney. You know, a couple of meetings ago, you were very disparaging to the residents of this community by your comments where you brought politics into it as well. It was obvious you did not do your homework with respect to what this supervisor was and how she handled herself in the previous 3 years. I really think you owe the residents of this community an apology because you were condescending and very disparaging to them, and I hope you have the humbleness to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carol Hawkshurst, followed by Tim Mitz.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
I'd like to echo what Mr. Cardone said with respect to the attorney.
What comment?
All right, please
What
don't.
are you talking about?
No,
I don't even know.
Are you gonna?
I'm just curious.
Because you really went after me last time,
What
and
did
it
I
was
say?
unprofessional. What did you say? And you were like,
What did I
and you
say?
said it more than once.
What?
And I said, what did I say? And you're like, I don't know. So it was
I think you guys
disrespectful.
are living in Fantasy Island.
No, because we play the tape. No,
All
play
right,
the tape.
everybody, please, please, make your town
No, I know, but
comments.
it did upset me, and Mr. Cardone happened to bring it up, so I just wanted to
tell me what
echo,
I
because
said.
he personally was...
There were comments made, I watched this whole thing, there were comments made, he felt you had said something, misheard, there was a back and forth.
Let's not, like you
Both
said...
of you participated, let's not continue it, let's shake hands and move on. Please have your 3 minutes.
Okay, so my first question is, and I was thinking about this because I was very involved with fighting against the Rye Hill development, or just, you know, my feeling about it. And I know that I had reached out to OSI as a possibility, along with other, so OSI is an Open Space Institute, and I'm wondering if you looked into that for Round Lake. And that's one question, for the land preservation of that property. And I want to thank Curtis, who attended tonight, because as you all know, here at the board meeting, I've brought up from the very beginning about the comprehensive plan. So Supervisor Richardson, I did see, and maybe I'm not seeing it correctly, or, you know, I don't understand all the ins and outs, but Governor Hochul, according to Senator Skoufis, he sent out a letter saying that Governor Hochul signed whatever you were talking about, I believe, for the sales tax and the money that we will have to use. So we do have money for the comprehensive plan, and I'm wondering at what point now that that has been passed and moving forward, are you going to put a moratorium out and review the comprehensive plan? Next thing. Marriage officer. I feel Valerie Bitzer, who is our town clerk, is so effective and so efficient with all her responsibilities that she does here. And you continue to say how overwhelmed you are with the position of supervisor. You have said it at several meetings with all the responsibilities you have. So adding that responsibility led me to question why you would even want to do that on a regular basis. My last thing about the police. You're talking, I appreciate Councilwoman Stevens talking about the police study, or whatever it's called. The state police cannot respond, just as you said. They are very short-staffed. We are in dire need for the safety of the citizens in Monroe, in the town of Monroe, to work on getting an IMA. Supervisor Richardson, are you listening to me?
I am.
Oh, okay, you were looking down, and it looks like you're looking at your phone.
I am coordinating several things at once, thank you.
Okay, I'm just speaking here, so I'm just wondering. So I just would like to know what's going on with that. And I also wanted to thank, I heard Keith Hernandez speak tonight. I appreciated what he had to say, and along with everybody else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim Mitz.
He's not here. Okay, that was everybody?
That's it.
Do you want to just go? I have the answer to factual questions. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank Mr. Mann for coming forward and clarifying the questions and concerns surrounding his property on Round Lake. On another matter, I feel it necessary to address something that has gone far beyond legitimate political disagreement. I'm referring to the atrocious, racist, and deeply offensive images that have been posted on Facebook depicting myself, Darius, Elias, and Maureen. As I've said this before, I'm a strong supporter of the First Amendment and the right for free speech. People have every right to disagree with me, criticize my decisions, even criticize my performance as an elected official. That comes with the territory, and I accept it. But there's a difference between criticism and personal attacks, harassment, racism, and deliberate spreading of false information. There have been completely false and inaccurate statements made suggesting that I have a personal relationship with the supervisor. That is simply not true. These kinds of statements are not harmless rumors. They are deeply personal and have created a hostile and unpleasant experience for me and my family. And they have no place in public discourse. What is particularly disturbing is that some of the same individuals who come before this board and demand accountability and at the same time spreading rumors, making personal attacks, and circulating falsehoods on social media. We can disagree on policy. We can disagree on politics. We can have passionate debates about the future of our town. That's a democracy, right? But there is a line, and I understand that some people are still unhappy with the results of the November election. I understand that political disagreements can be very emotional, but elections are decided by the voters. And once an election is over, our responsibility is to move forward and serve the community. I'm confident that the people of Monroe are better than this. The people of Monroe are hardworking, decent, respectful people who care about their families, the neighborhoods, and the future of this town. We should not allow a small number of individuals to drag our community into a cycle of personal attacks, rumors, racism, and division. So tonight, I am asking that this stop. You can disagree with me, you can criticize me, you can question my decisions, but I will not accept racism, personal harassment, or the deliberate spreading of lies about me or my family. There is a way to conduct ourselves in this community, and there is a responsibility that comes with speaking publicly about other people. All right? Political disagreement should never become an attack to someone's character or their family. I hope we can all rise above the sludge, put the personal attacks aside, and get back to what we were elected to, working for the people of Monroe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would second your comments about Facebook. Just what you find on there is not always true. Always come to the source and don't rely on Facebook as your only source. Mike Somers, I know Water District 1 is a very passionate group of residents. You want the best water, and I hope that the supervisor will shortly be able to receive the hydrologist report and set up the meeting between you and the engineering firm MHE. So I think she'll address that in further detail. I am aware of the loss of the night class interest and also the fact that but there was some loss of interest on that. And also, I don't know if the county's going to pay us the interest back that they earned while they had that 0.75%. So I think, you know, we might have a little difficulty with the budget if some of those numbers are maybe not exactly what was stated tonight, but if they're, you know, 200, 300,000, you know, you're talking about some department's salary, the Water District Administration, for example. The comp plan, I believe, should have been addressed. I've said that for many meetings, and I hope it will get a start. It just needs to be a start. Identify the sections that need to be looked at, whether it's scenic views, that's in the comp plan, safety. I think there are these very definite sections in the comp plan where a initial inroad can be made. The ambulance, They cost a lot of money. We talked about interests before. That interest possibly could have been a good down payment on an ambulance. We want the best care for our residents, and when you only have a 5-minute window to get to somebody, it's ideal if all the equipment in the ambulance can actually help the person. I've heard stories, because I used to work in a hospital back when this was a farming community, and they would throw the person in the back of the pickup truck. Well, we can't do that anymore. We need good equipment, and I agree the EMS department does a good job. So those are my comments. I know there's more to come, but thank you everyone for your comments tonight. They're very important.
Well, I would just like to thank everyone, regardless of what subject was important to you tonight, just for coming and having the courage to speak your voice and be a part of this process in this town. Starting back with the Q&A session, while I am thankful to, a private real estate owner to come and answer our questions, I also feel like we didn't get a lot of those questions answered. There were some specific ones where he simply chose not to answer, and that doesn't help with, trying to help the community feel like we are being transparent. So I'm disappointed in that element. Moving on to, there's been a lot of talk tonight about comprehensive plan. Curtis, thank you for bringing up all of those lawn details. And yes, I see Carol sitting behind you. Carol Hawkshurst has been requesting us to move forward on this for some time, but Curtis really laid it out there for why it's so important. I mean, as a member of our planning board, I also know Curtis's background from my time at West Point. If he's bringing these things to us and encouraging us to do it, I feel even more confident continuing to push my fellow board members to move forward with that as well. John, thank you for the kind words. I know when you describe leadership, you're doing it from a place of servant leadership from your time in military service. Probably one of the reasons I agree so much with what you and Curtis are saying tonight. I have seen some email traffic on possible consolidation of planning board, CBA under the building inspector. I will never support that. I just want that on record. We should be independent bodies. Carol Scully, I see the cumulative list that that basically all the residents are seeing. I'm acknowledging it. I just want you to know I'm following and tracking all the same things that you are. And you mentioned why don't we do a moratorium until we get that comprehensive plan in place? I would also be in support of that. To the resident off of Berry Road, I just want you to know I've personally experienced very similar things at my residence. It's why we passed a motion recently to establish a public safety advisory committee. I'll follow up with the supervisor to see where we are on that. I definitely hear all of the Water District 1 resident concerns, and I'm sorry, so many things to address tonight, right? I hear you loud and clear. Agree with Mary's sentiments on, I hope you get that report soon and you can, find out what the next steps forward are. I also agree with the comments of that bus depot. If it's not serving our residents, I'm not sure that it's necessary in our town. But I do know that people have the right to apply for things and, go through the proper different boards. And in my opinion, it appears like the boards are handling those decisions appropriately. Yeah, that'll be enough for tonight. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. So just to jump off that, so to clarify with the zoning and planning board being a building planning zoning department, there are I think misunderstandings going on. Our building inspector has again been with us for 20 years. He's doing a fantastic job. We have now an employee who's come back, who's the ZBA planning board secretary. Her name's Alyssa, and she actually used to work for Ben Maldonado in the building department, and that's where she got her start. She's doing a fantastic job taking minutes and really learning quickly. So anyway, there are, I believe, 4, if not more, just in our surrounding area, including Cornwall, municipalities who have this setup, and what it is administrative. The boards have nothing to do with it. So the boards are their own independent entity, and the town of Monroe hires full-time staff such as Alyssa to come in, take minutes, and behave almost like a clerk to facilitate the same way that we hire the legal staff for those boards as well. Ben, in this proposal, which has been highly recommended by other municipalities, by him himself, by just experienced people in municipal work, that it streamlines not only someone downstairs who can actually sign the timesheet and verify Alyssa's comings and goings, as we had an issue that I'm sure you can attest to, that our planning board chair and our zoning board chair are not employees. They're independent appointed officials with the town. They are, again, their own independent body regardless. And this unifies the town full-time staff and puts them on an administrative, organized, unified department, and no operations would overlap in terms of board operations. It would simply be, they have, I think it's a GovWell suite of program where they upload paperwork, share files. In fact, the ZBA and planning and building function a lot behind the scenes in terms of transmitting paperwork, sharing notes, all of that, to the point where, again, multiple departments have that. I think the misunderstanding is that people think he would have somehow influence on the ZBA or the planning board. That is not how that functions whatsoever. So I'm happy to give the board more of a presentation on that as that comes up, because I believe that we need to be moving more efficiently and have someone overseeing Alyssa down there, and both Alyssa and Ben are very supportive of that idea, and it's our job to listen to our full-time staff. Excuse me. We've addressed the sewer pipe, the drone pictures. Please send us everything that you have. Thanks, Val. I'm just getting started, unfortunately. So the ambulance, fly car, and equipment, we hear you loud and clear. We have offered Nancy over with the Monroe EMS grant opportunities. We would love to sit down and talk about how Monroe could be of help. We were originally trying to come to terms to see if we could do a medic training program, if we could get together with the Tri-Town area, facilitate some kind of broader EMS program. But any way that the municipality can really step in. Our contract is cemented this year, and we've got what we've got going, but we are looking to expand because KJ EMS Hatsala is actually doing I think 50 to 65% of our medic calls. So we really need to change the model that we're working with there. For our comp plan, which was brought up and continues to be brought up, it does tie in with the budget crisis that we were experiencing in the beginning of the year. Not only as, we've talked about, but Councilwoman Bingham has brought up several times, the county sales tax distribution that was not fully given to us. To answer your question, we will be getting that refund of the 0.75. However, that was not our only budget issue, as we've discussed at multiple meetings. I know it can be complicated, but again, yes, there was a NICLAS investment loss. However, the figures that are being thrown out there are completely speculative and wildly overestimated. We put our O'Connor Davies on that, and she's actually going to present the whole financial picture at a future meeting that is not accurate whatsoever. The same way that we had past officials coming up and telling us in the beginning of the year that actually we're getting more money. That was not true either. So I'm, urging the public that financial information is what we're here to give. We are going to give overviews and explanations and rundowns of all of that. And as we close out our audit, again, Melissa Zott has been fantastic with any of our financial questions. I believe what's going on is they are calculating it on the wrong calendar. They're using too many days. The banks uses separate. They have a different amount of days to compound the interest, and I think that they're overestimating how much money we would have sitting and for how long, because it's obvious that we're making transactions on almost a daily basis as a town, so you can't count just money that you think came in and not account for when it would have came in and out. So for the comp plan, back to that, there is good news we will be receiving that lost disbursement. However, we were under budgeted, as we mentioned, for Teamsters, for mandated salaries, people who still were employed here who just literally were not included in the budget. There were positions just eliminated, slashed, no market value to hire new people. We've been doing everything that we can, including hiring freezes, budget spending freezes, everything that we can to try to solve that. And unfortunately, one of the things was identifying basically non-essential items that did not need our spending. And one of those is the comp plan, unfortunately, because to begin with, we were only left with $45,000 for a comp plan. I have had the pleasure of working with Bonnie Franson and Max Stock in the past few months, asking how much funding that we would need, what could she volunteer, and she's been fantastic. She's a planner, a paid planner in her career, and she volunteers an incredible amount to us, and even she is just, don't bother until we have grants, and which she is willing to help us apply for, and Max and Bonnie are working on that actively. They know that they have my full support in any preservation initiatives, and we do hope to get both a comp plan and everything else started. As far as a building moratorium, the law, first of all, we haven't had new applications. The law is that you cannot just, spuriously, unnecessarily place a building moratorium. That has to be a valid reason, such as doing a comp plan update. So when you are changing your zoning, they acknowledge that it becomes very muddy, the new and the old would overlap, there would be administrative confusion, some developers would try to get maybe the new zoning or the old zoning and cherry pick what they wanted. So that is why they allow a building moratorium in those circumstances. They also allow one when well water is depleted. A gentleman came up here and talked about flooding, droughts, etc. If there were environmental disasters or any reason, such as limited drawdown for wells, drought, other things, we could do that as well, but it all has to be data-based implications. So we cannot just announce a building moratorium and for just an unknown amount of time. So we ran on this platform. Unfortunately, these were the cards that we were dealt, and we have to make sure that we have the actual money in the account before we proceed, and we have to keep the lights on before we can, get our hair done, basically. I try to say, it's like going to the dentist and say, fill my crown when you're bleeding from the head. We've really got a head wound here, so we're getting it ironed out with the help of some new finance consultants, such as Cheryl Gross, and she's been taking on of work on, and Melissa Zott, again, has been great. As far as Rye Hill and Berry Hill, someone said, how do we protect these parcels? So Rye Hill is very clearly designated as preserved parkland. So that is good news. When it was purchased, there were all sorts of signals, including the resolution itself, the parkland fees that were dedicated to it, statements made in lawsuits that all both directly and imply parkland designation. As for Berry Hill Park, I am unclear as to whether that was ever expressly dedicated, because this was decades before me. We're happy to do that if that's something that needs to be done, but again, because we spend parkland fees on that parcel, as the town call it a park, it's something called implied designation of parkland, which if for some reason a future board, as people have been coming up and say we have concerns about longevity, say that no one here, the board flips to certain, other priority population. It would be a public vote. People would have the power to come after them with an Article 78 and pursue very strong New York State legal proceedings that this was public money dedicated for parkland purposes, and that cannot simply be taken out of the hands of the public, such as the prior administration tried to do with the dinosaur parkland so easily. So that is good news for that. The Ethics Committee, we've talked about this. We are contracting with Steve Leventhal, who has always been the ethics attorney and advisor for the town of Monroe. He's had grave concerns about our ethics law for some time now, and I was excited to get his services. We're going to be speaking to him actually in the beginning of September. His schedule has been completely booked, unfortunately, so we do apologize for the delay. He recommended holding off on recomposing the board and doing the training until the new law is in place, because the new law will take into effect a new composition of the board, including new members, and it will basically require training. Obviously, you wouldn't want to host a training on an old law. So we're happy to have Steve's guidance. We've always used Steve as our, he's like the top ethics attorney in the state, so we're happy to have him. As for the bus depot, and people have brought it up, and both of us I was born and raised here. I went to the elementary schools that people are saying, yes, there's now low attendance. We have budget issues. It's not the school that I went to any longer. I'm deeply concerned that there's no young people coming into this community. I see the demographic turnover, and this is why I ran for office. I'm trying to make a change in a positive way for my community. There's not much that we can do in terms of that. But again, we've said it over and over, we're land use stewards. So we want to make sure that everything is done the proper way, lawfully. We don't get to say, I don't think this provides value to the community, and then just not allow that person to have something that is lawfully allowed in the code. So while it is, of course, a temptation, and the public has all right to vent frustration and we hear the concerns, we do not have that ability to arbitrarily pick and choose what projects we want to have. What we do as a legislative body is exactly what those who came up here have asked us to look at, a redo of the comprehensive plan that takes into account as a total picture, what do residents want here, what has impact on the environment. That district is general business, which is a higher mixed use district. That's already been zoned. We don't have the ability to simply argue that we don't want it. We just have to make sure that it is done the appropriate way, that there's minimized impact to the environment, and that is why we have people from planning, from zoning, and from the commission who come in and do everything that they can and make recommendations, our town engineers, our planner, everything like that. So again, with Michael Sommer, your district received $2.3 million because your water source is completely contaminated. We have to treat the surface water with so much chemicals, and by the time that it comes to your district, it's not technically, it's potable, but it's failing so badly that the state gave Monroe $2.3 million to correct the issue. The quality is the issue, not the infrastructure. So that is why we are trying to fix it. The lake itself is receiving the water from an underground aquifer. We understand that you used to have a well. It was not a municipal well. It was not built to the standards of today. And the guarantee that you will not ever be without water is that it's town-owned, and it is completely our responsibility to service you with water. So also, we have spoken with our engineers about leaving the hookup in an emergency situation, but to say that one is not superior to the other when the proof is in the pudding. The state does not ever give out money for no reason, and they are very reluctant to give out money, and it was so bad, the quality of your water, that Monroe, of all demographic places, received $2.3 million to fix it, and that is what we intend to do with the advice of our engineers, and this is what they've asked us to look into. I think that's basically it. People asked about land preservation purchase options for Round Lake, and I have asked Joel Mann a number of times. I basically, anytime he calls me, I pick up the phone and say, are you going to sell me Round Lake? And he says no. So we can't buy what someone is not willing to sell. I would buy it tomorrow. We can only do what the law allows us to do. And I, again, thank everyone. This was a good, productive meeting, and for voicing everybody's opinion. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. All right, I will make a motion to close the August 10th, 2026 meeting.
Rivera seconds.
Call the question.
Rivera, aye.
Bingham, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Stevens, aye.